So I get asked, can I borrow a knife? Well, yeah, what kind of knife? Well, you know, a knife to like cut things that's sharp. Well, like, what kind of knife? You know, what are you cutting? Well, a knife like you use to cut vegetables and stuff. I said, okay, yeah, you can use a chef's knife. And I loaned it to him, and he brought it back later. Didn't really say anything because I keep covers like this over the blades. And so here you go, thanks. Well, I don't know if you can see that. Took some chunks out of the blade. So I'm later, I says, what were you cutting with that knife? Well, I was boning some ham. And a big ham, I had to bone it. Well, this isn't a boning knife, and it's not a carving knife, it's a chef's knife. I didn't go into anything about it. I didn't even say anything. Okay, I said, just next time, be a little more specific about what you're cutting. Needless to say, I need to fix this. No, it's not a lost cause. No, it's not a very expensive knife. It's a Bakers and Chefs, stain-free, high carbon. That's about all it says on it. It's not a Mercer or any of my really good knives. So, what's this going to take? Well, it's real far from using a whetstone on it. So I'm going to actually use oil stones here with oil, hence the name oilstone, to get this back down to where I have a straight edge to work with, and then I'll get into the wet honing on it. But right now I got some big divots to take out of this, and it's definitely not sharp anymore. So if there's any knife makers or people like that out there about sharpening knives, they're going to freak about me doing it this way, but I know it works. This is a very, very coarse stone. We get some oil on it here. Let that soak in. And this was at about 15 degrees originally, so I will stick with that. So now it's just going to be a matter of me repeatedly doing this until I can get that worn down, and it's going to take a little while. And I know another way I could do it would be to do like this. And I will eventually get it down to where it's straight again, and then I can work on a higher grit. Okay, so I've switched to another stone that's just not quite as coarse. I'm getting close here. You can kind of look at the edge there and see that still got a little bit of a divot there, but I'm getting closer. So I'll just keep working this till I get a straight edge again. Takes a lot of work, but it's worth it in the end. This is especially important if you've got a really good high quality knife and somebody jacks it up. They are restorable, it just takes some time to do it. Why am I using oil stones instead of a whetstone? Well, I don't have any whetstones this course. And this is what I use for sharpening things like pocket knives and stuff like that. I don't usually sharpen kitchen knives and cooking knives with this type of stone, but sometimes you got to work with what you got. Oh, as you can see there, pretty much got it all out of there. So I work on this just a little more and I can work towards some finishing. The stone I first started out with was a 200 grit. The last one I was working with was a 400. This is a 1000. Now we'll keep working this until I get my bevel back to where it should be. And then I'll go to the whetstone. Just stopping at the 1000 there gives it somewhat of a... I got a burr on there yet I need to work on. I can feel that burr on one side. Yeah, I got a burr on this side here yet. We'll take that off when I move up to the whetstone here. Okay, so my whetstone's been soaking here for, I don't know, quite a while. It should be well hydrated. Well, you can tell which side that was on in the drawer. So I'll just start working this here. Never used a whetstone before. Always make sure you keep that hydrated. It takes a small amount of metal you're taking off. It kind of flushes it away. You should start feeling a burr on this side a little bit. Very slight. Using a stone this fine, you're not taking a lot off. You're just refining that edge. And I am not a knife expert by any means, but I do know how to sharpen knives and put a very keen edge on them. Some will probably disagree about the way I do it, but it's always worked for me. So I'll keep working this here and see if we can't get a little better edge on this. Yeah, let's see what we got here. Of course, it doesn't help when there's wind blowing right behind you, but I need a fan in here. It's hot. Still tearing it a little bit. Still need to do some more honing, but it is getting close. As you can see, I don't have that big divot in it anymore. Oh, there it is. Restored, usable again, and razor sharp. So again, some of you knife experts out there are just freaking out about how I did this, but it worked, and I've got a good edge on it. Going from 1,000 to 3,000 in one step was a little much, but I didn't have anything in between right here. Okay, so why do I want my knife so sharp? A lot of people will tell you, and it's quite true, a dull knife is more dangerous than a sharp knife because you're trying to use more pressure and you're trying to saw and do that type of thing. When you have a good sharp knife, you have a good tool. Just obviously you want to keep your fingers and other body parts out of the way. But I've got a good chef's knife again. It's perfectly usable. Granted, it's not an expensive one. It's an inexpensive one, but just to show that if you get a knife that gets nicked up or bad, you can restore it. So if you got anything out of this, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Always helps the channel. Something else is keep a guard over your blades. Keep everything safe. And I just put that on there backwards. How about that? So, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.